Hello, welcome to this week's installment of Friday Puzzle Time, the series where we not only try to solve interesting puzzles but learn something to improve our chess game through that. And in this week's installment, for the first time, we're going to demonstrate that we know what the letter F, the button F, does in lichess, which is to flip the board, because for the first time we're going to solve a puzzle from Black's perspective. So it is Black's turn to win in a seemingly tight game where White has an outside pawn, but Black has a winning move. So what can Black do? Please, as usual, pause the video and we'll discuss in a few seconds. Alright, a few seconds have gone. So, if you found the winning move, which is Queen to H2, congratulations, you probably know how the game would continue if you played that, if you decided that's the winning move, since it is obviously a queen sacrifice. And to understand why this is the best move, I think it will be useful to consider what moves are potential good moves, and when you play it out, maybe understand, or maybe you just want to see the solution of why they don't work, whereas Queen H2 was the best move. So when looking at this position, we always want to look at attacking moves when we solve puzzles, because usually in a few moves you gain some sort of advantage. So the moves that are there to consider are knight to check the king from square g3, because after you take the knight, maybe there's some action that opens the h file for the king. So one potential move would be knight to g3. You have a few captures possible, so the queen to take the knight and the queen to take the queen. So these are the moves to consider, and of course you always should look into checks. This is the check that we discussed is potential, and even if it's outrageous, every time you solve a puzzle, just go through the checks, because sometimes the craziest check is the solution, and in this case, this is indeed the situation. And again, this is from a real game, from a tournament in Moscow in the mid-90s, so it's probably a good tournament, since there was a time where Russia was good at chess. And the idea behind it is, if you take here, the king is obviously forced to take the queen, followed by a nice checkmate, which uses rook and knight to a kind of rare effect where the rook covers the h file, whereas the knight covers the g file, and the king is blocked by its own pawn for the g2 square. So this delivers actually an unstoppable checkmate. So this is the idea behind it. What I liked about this puzzle is that it is a very it's like the least likely move in this position works for a specific reason, that the knight is covering the escape squares, the flight squares for the king. Whereas if you do a more traditional puzzle solving idea, which is like to take some material and obtain a good position, it just doesn't work. Taking the queen is met by retaking the queen, and you don't have a clear next move even after taking the pawn here. For example, White could go rook to f3, and the game will just continue as normal. Probably White is even a little bit better, and even though it's a drawn position, this pawn will be a problem. So definitely this doesn't work. It's not strong enough as an attack. Taking the knight would keep more pieces on the board, but again, it's just a knight exchange. So from here on, again, Black is going to have a very difficult time to prove any sort of advantage. Probably White is again a bit better. And what else is there? Perhaps giving a check with the knight. So the idea is sometimes these checks work because when the defending side doubles its pawns on the g file, you might be able to deliver a nice checkmate or a very strong attack via the h file. This normally works when you have a hidden bishop sniping the flight square of the king. This is not the case here, and since we don't have any knights and bishops, it will be very hard to attack this square, because a queen and a rook, which is the pieces that we've got, are not good at attacking this square, since it's very well defended from queens and rooks. So that's why this attack also doesn't work. You can't really recapture to any meaningful advantage, because you lose your rook. So overall this move doesn't work. So in our last puzzle we had a situation where no moves looked good. Here actually a lot of moves look good, but only one move, the one highlighted in the blue arrow in this diagram, is the winning move. So again, if you found it, congratulations. Wasn't super easy to find in my opinion, but if you did it, you can count yourself lucky, because you can definitely checkmate your opponents. Let me know what you thought, and I will see you in the next one. And don't forget to subscribe, to comment, to you know, to make my weekend really nice. So thank you very much for watching, and bye bye.